Of course, as you are building all the business logic, we call the backend. And then we need to each of the business logic is nothing but representing a specific small or the larger functionality. Let's talk about the small. So like an application like a sign up, sign in, forget password, reset password, verify, OTP, add a product, delete a product. So backend developer is just the create writing the code based on the user story for each of this, right? But end of the day, backend is not something visible to users. Backend is always like a route. Okay, it's a code, but it is actually giving a route that front end developer needs to implement on the front end. But the question is the Swagger, what is the purpose of the Swagger? The purpose of the Swagger, if a development team is working 10 or 20 people, maybe the vendor is outside, maybe the other team is working, like the 50 people is working every day on this application. And the backend developer, multiple developers are creating all this, writing the code and the producing the APIs. Well, there should be an interface where everybody means all the developer can access it, so they can learn the API details. We call the API specification. We call the API behavior. We call the API behavior means action from the user, right? So like what is the user doing? Is the user is reading, or the user is either creating something, or user is deleting something, or user just updating something? Is called the behavior, means the client behavior. That's what we call the method. So all of these things, actually there is a special software or the specific interface called the Swagger. Company use their own, many companies use the Swagger, it's open source. So the purpose of this, the entire team can get the details about the APIs. So if you click the sign up, please quickly sign up on the top one. Top one, like a top API, please click the endpoints. Yes, just click it. Okay, so you will see that's exactly when the backend developer implementing the backend code base. All you just, once you deploy, you just know the location. So sign up is a post, means you are just creating something, and it is actually /API/user/sign up. And then it called the body. Body means exactly the data you are sending from the mobile app or the front end. Okay, you are sending means when you use the front end developer actually exactly they implement this on the front end. When the user is typing their information, exactly this data is passing through the HTTP protocol and reach to the server, which is the web server, and web server reach out to the backend, and backend evaluate the process. If it is valid, backend tells the database, okay, you can store. And again, database tells the backend is good, and the backend is telling the web server, yes, the communication is successful, and finally your web server is telling your browser that yes, you have signed up user. This the millisecond, like a 3 to 4 second, but the entire gigantic process has been happened behind the scene. Okay, so this actually the development team needs this for that, just to become familiar, know the process, what is API is called the API specification, what type of data you are sending, all the good thing they do. They are not using for the testing purposes. They are all called the API specification. It means know the details of the API. That's the purpose of the Swagger. So as a DevOps engineer, the first thing they need to know, the Swagger endpoint is popping up. So they actually click something. They can use, make sure everything is working fine. The very next step is this has to go to the quality team. So now their journey is ended at this moment here. So now the quality team or the front end team, now they know it is deployed on we call the environment, maybe development, maybe test, maybe staging, and finally production. So this can go to the front end team and the QA team. Of course, all of the QA team, they will be doing the diligence amount of the testing. Diligence. They will be doing the testing. They create the bug. They talk to the developer back and forth. Developer fix it, and DevOps engineer push it again because bug was found. Again, they test it. They test it if everything is good to go. If testing the fail, again they go back to they set up a meeting with developer, create a bug, set up a meeting with developer, and developer fix it, and DevOps engineer push it to the cloud so that the testing team can happen. So this is the three people they're actually working as a circle. Okay, but in this case, so now DevOps engineer is calm. They can actually give the link to the QA team and also can share in the web, share in the email, but share in the, we always do in the chat group, chat channel, right? Whatever we call it, we call the chat crowd, so that the whole team knows, okay, backend is deployed, the API endpoint is given, Swagger is up and running. Any of the issues happen, we always communicate in the chat group, mostly. Some team chat, some team email, some team one-on-one, some team create a ticket. It varies based on the how the company put their process and procedure in place.